So hey Ross, nice to see you. I'll speak to you. What are we doing today?
We are going to listen to some white noise.
Delicious white noise.
The white noise that I've got is kind of things that I listen to or have listened to regularly, or things that I think say something a bit wider about white noise and how it's used and how it exists in the world. Which I think is really interesting. So I was thinking last night, maybe it's kind of about listening to some white noise and then some observations about that white noise.
For me, I'm interested in white noise as a kind of empirical object, like something that you sense through sound and maybe through your body more widely, but then also the cultural impact of white noise, how white noise has become a thing that people talk about and people refer to when talking about other things. In my glossary of terms at the moment, I'm thinking about the kind of performative nature of white noise. But these two things, like the illocutionary force of white noise, like what is the actual force of a particular piece of white noise, and then the perlocutionary, effect of white noise, which is much more about the cultural context in which it exists and how it's kind of mediated through other ideas and stuff like that.
One of the things that I'm really interested in about white noise is the labour involved around it and the videos on YouTube as well and the function that they provide.
Are you talking about the ones that are like 12 hours of white noise or whatever?
Yeah, I was going to say a side factor of those is that they are very long.
Nice. So what's this one called? Is this a YouTube clip?
Celestial white noise.
Celestial. What makes it celestial, do you know?
It's got a picture of a Milky Way on it. But that's what I'm really interested in, relationship between the image and the noise.
Right, yeah.
But you kind of have to do on YouTube, because the producers of the white noise, they use YouTube because it's so accessible and you can get really long videos up.
Yeah.
But by its nature, they have to have some sort of image or video accompanying it. I think that tension between the two is actually really interesting.
That is interesting, because even if you know what you're looking for in terms of sound on YouTube, you don't get a sound preview, do you? You just get the image preview. So that kind of gives you a feeling of the vibe that the people are going for or something.
Yeah, exactly. And this one is hang on a sec. They do say that it's uniquely crafted based on cosmic radiation.
Oh, is it like a certain frequency? No, it doesn't sound...
Yeah. Well, they don't really say, they just say that it's crafted on cosmic radiation.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
No, I'm not sure.
Or isn't that the whole point of cosmic radiation, that it's pure noise, which is why you get static on TVs and stuff, because it's just picking up the background radiation of the universe?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is pure entropy, actually, which is another thing that we've always been chatting about. It's how white noise is the complete breakdown of signal. Like if you have a recording of something, the human voice or an instrument or just even noise out in the world, it isn't pure white noise because it's not hitting all of the frequencies all at the same time.
Yeah.
So you get differentiation, but here you're just getting this wall of sound. This is the classic white noise for me.
It is classic.
Do you ever use this? Do you ever use this particular video?
This is my sort of entry point into white noise. I started using it about 6 years ago, and I use it every day.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. This is my go-to blocker for any sort of, if I'm writing or need to kind of read a report for work or something like that, I'll put this on.
And what do you think the function of it is? What's it actually doing when you're listening to it?
Materially, it blocks out sound, which is useful, but also it's a bit of a statement of intent or something. I think there is something about yeah, just saying I will not be distracted, and whatever it does, it does work. And I think that's in the if you read the comments for this video, people do use it like that. You know, people have, and that's another kind of thing that I think is really interesting about these videos, is that they're different from any other video on YouTube in that people develop like a real relationship with them, and you've got people in the comments kind of saying, you know, this got me through my degree, essentially. And, you know, I just listen to it every day in the library. Hang on, I'll try and dig some out. Which is... I didn't think we were going to be recording for the first bit, so I was eating toast.
Oh, that's fine. It's part of the ASMR qualities of our recording.
So the comments are funny because you've got like a mix of people with sarky comments about its relationship to music.
Yes.
So things like, isn't this a cover version? Or I like the bit at 4 hours 52 minutes. Yeah. but mixed with like genuine people, like genuine thanks, like. So it's like, I have ADHD and this specific white noise is the only thing that helps me concentrate. I graduated college with Latin honours and have this video to thank. I just think I think the videos on YouTube sort of go beyond something else in that they provide like a service.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Or something, and they're functional. They're kind of like tools or something, and they all have different uses. So a lot of the videos that I've got to play have had different uses for me, and they've got different designs behind like their purposes. You know, some of them are for calming crying babies, some of them are for sleeping, some of them are for working, but the form all shifts in those uses, and it's a mix of the video and the noise are doing different things.
Yeah.
And this celestial white noise is like you say, it's like your classic. It's the original. It's uploaded in 2012. You know, it's got hundreds of thousands of views. Yeah. It's got a bit of sort of mysticism about it, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting that because there is. I've just been looking at a bit of new age music, and there is shades of new ageness about it, even though new age music in general is very, very melodic and traditionally harmonic. You know, it uses Western harmony, whereas obviously this is no, it is literally noise. But there is something similar in the sense that they have a function. It's like they're never gonna do like a sudden key change or like a sudden like drop and go really loud. Like the whole point is to create a continuous mood, right? And this is the same. Yeah,
exactly. And that's essential to the function. So there's a big conversation. Well, it's kind of like a conversation, but it sort of takes place in the video's titles about not having advert breaks.
Yes.
Which is like a massive thing.
Just imagine if you did.
Yeah.
You sleep for like 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's some guy trying to sell you like his book on making money on short-term selling of shares or something. Yeah, exactly. It's like... And this one is particularly funny because it's got subtitles.
Has it? What, as it's playing?
Yeah.
And what do the subtitles say?
They just say, oh.
Oh, right. What, as though it's like or something, like a meditation noise?
I think they just put it on for a laugh, to be honest. But it's kind of interesting because I quite liked it because it shows, because they put it on free about 3 months ago. They put the subtitles on.
Okay, like they added it.
And Yeah, and the comments are all just about the subtitles now. So it just...
Well, that's another
sort of
interesting
shows this-
feature of these things, right? People return to exactly the same video over and over and over again.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. And you find one and then you use it.
Yeah.
Because it's about that use thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I don't need another white noise video. Sometimes if I'm in a different mood, I'll dig something out. But, you know, it's just, I've used this, for years.
Amazing. Okay, so this was my go-to. It's not white noise, right? So it's called Tropical Rain Sound, Black Screen, Sleep Study, Meditate, Relax. Uploaded in 2018, got about 3 million views. And it does open with an advert, actually, but it doesn't have advert breaks in it. So it means that it is making someone a little tiny bit of money. And it's also got affiliate links in the description. So get an even better night's sleep with these recommended sleep products. Sleep headphones, puffy mattress, snooze white noise machine. And they're all affiliate links. So if you bought those things, then the person who owns the video gets a bit of money. Anyway, so I like this. But I always thought it's a bit light. Like in terms of, like I like the sound and I like the cultural feeling of it. Like I like the sound of rain on windows. I like the sound of being in a rainstorm but being cozy. Those are associatively quite nice things for me, but it doesn't have the illocutionary thing of blocking out noise. You can still hear things through your headphones when you're listening to this. So what I did was found another noise, and I don't know how I got onto this, but I've ended up listening to this, which is, so can you hear that in the background? So that's a Star Trek The New Generation bridge background ambience.
I know this one. It's very
really
nice.
So I'll bring down the rain and we can just listen to it. But the key thing is that I ended up mixing these. So if I do use white noise like you're talking about to work, it's a mixture of these two YouTube videos.
Oh, very nice. That's
Which
nice.
is something I think I learnt from someone else. So here's the Star Trek bridge on its own. So this is a bridge background ambience, 8 hours for sleep, study, relaxation. And this does have an image. This has got an image of the bridge from Star Trek. Now, culturally, this doesn't really have any meaning for me. I never watched Star Trek. And when it was on, I really wasn't interested in watching it. But I do like the beeps and buzzes. And the key thing is below that you can hear that it's got a kind of low a low pass filtered white noise, which could just be your celestial white noise with this filter on that takes off the top end. But it's got some they're not melodic, but it's got some tonal elements in there.
Absolutely. I was going to say it sounds quite musical. Is it looped? Is it?
Yeah, but you would never be able to. I think I have worked with it for once long enough to be like, oh yeah, I recognise that bit. Must have hit the loop. But it's pretty long. But also, I guess the point about the point about any kind of noise is that it has to be random enough that you don't notice it. So you can have a very short loop and it can still be noise, but as soon as there's probably a quantitative limit, right? As soon as you get under a certain amount of seconds, you're just going to notice most things looped, unless it is just pure white noise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because you're counting,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's what your head's looking for, is those patterns.
Yeah, exactly. And white noise, the whole point of white noise is to get your head to just kind of ignore that. Oh, you've missed out. That's the like.
No, I heard it.
I don't know what that is, but that happens every now and again, and that's something I recognise.
That's nice.
What's funny about this as well is that it's got this cultural life that I don't really know about because I'm not a Star Trek fan. So all the comments are jokes about things. So comment number 1 is, about 6.5 hours into this, they should have a red alert go off just to scare the shit out of everyone who fell asleep. And someone saying, kinda makes me feel like I'm on the Enterprise's night shift. And I was completely expected to wake up to Ensign Why are you sleeping in the middle of the bridge? Report to my ready room immediately. Which I just don't know what that means. Anyway, but actually I hadn't really thought about the comments until you mentioned them just now. But there was a really nice one. Someone says, this may sound nuts, but this audio has been a lifesaver for me. I have pretty severe tinnitus and use this to keep the noise in my head at bay. I sleep with this soundtrack on every single night and it works like a charm. And so you're right, like people do, I mean, I use this, but people use this in a very particular way. And then in the recommended videos, there's just a whole world of Star Trek based noise videos, which I guess people have taken from sampling Star Trek episodes. And I haven't seen this one before. Post-apocalypse ambience. That's very 2021 kind of white noise.
Yeah. Well, I think science fiction is definitely a theme that runs through. I think you've got your new age, your kind of new age stuff, and then you've got the natural world.
Yes.
And then you've got science fiction.
That's so true.
And that seems to be the three main genres of what people are looking for.
Isn't that crazy though? Because your one's called celestial white noise, but it's got a picture of the universe in, or whatever, solar system. Yeah. But the use of the word celestial shifts it from sci-fi to new age. And then this is like, you know, the sound of, I don't know, I guess this is pure sci-fi. Yeah, there's nothing else it can be, is there? But yeah, because of that, all the recommended videos are sci-fi ones.
And on the
I'll bring the rain back up a little bit.
The tropical rainforest, yeah, bring that up. Is that? Do you think that is a field recording, or is that a produced sound?
I think you just record. That's just a recording that's just been looped, and it might be taken from somewhere else. I don't know if that's the person who made the video, whether they recorded that. Although there is a line. I just scrolled down to the comments, and someone called Suresh Kumar says, I can't listen to any other rainy channel. Why? Because this rain is from my tiny village. So this person has either recognised the sound of the rain and just been, yeah, that's my village, that's definitely mine. Or for some reason they know that this rain, maybe it's very famous rain, a village in a rainforest or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I like the idea that these are very particular, you know, bits of recordings that have been used. But
I think they do, and maybe that's another. I always sort of cast this into the natural stroke field recording genre, but there is a definite genre of kind of cities and like city noise as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
and they are quite associated with place and being in a place. I think all of them are quite heavily place-based.
That's true.
Whether it's the solar system or and then you get like a sort of, it's almost like a subgenre of domestic sounds, like a Hoover or a tap or an aeroplane or something, which for some reason I just find less interesting, to be honest.
That's lovely.
It's really nice, isn't it? So this is probably, although I use celestial white noise more, this is probably one of my favourite videos. It's called Arctic White Noise and Wind, the best ASMR.
ASMR. There's some crossover, isn't there?
There is some crossover, and I think this kind of video gets there. So the description is the sounds of the Arctic noise, white noise, and general Arctic sounds, light snowfall and wind.
What can you discern in that kind of recording then? Because you've listened to this quite a lot.
All of it. So my description is it's an example of white noise video that replicates natural conditions: wind, the creaking of ice, snowfall.
That's the creaking. Yeah.
Yeah, and the ship's engine. And then the video is an image of a ship surrounded by ice at night. And then what they've done is, what the producer's done is put a snow effect on top of the still image.
So just for clarity, because this is something I've been thinking about, is how these things get rendered out, because an 8-hour video is would be insane to render out. So it's a still image, and it's probably got some kind of generative effect placed over the top for the snowfall. You think?
I think so. Yeah. I think that's exactly what it is, because so in the comments section of this, there's been an ongoing conversation about whether it's a field recording or whether it's a produced sound.
Oh, this has to be produced. There's no way.
Yeah, and it's absolutely produced, and the images are produced images as well. It's just like a stock image off of the internet, and they've sort of put a filter on it on top. But I think what I find interesting about it is it tries to be authentic.
Yeah.
And I think there is this kind of concern, if not requirement, for the videos to have an authenticity to them, and to have like a crafted nature to them. Like, people are looking for the real thing, especially when it comes to like the field recordings or the natural world recordings. They don't want to listen to something that sounds like a field recording from the North Pole. They want to listen to the actual thing. It's like it's not a connoisseurship. It's I don't know. There's like a relationship between the sound and the viewer.
And do you think this is because the real thing is the thing that people remember being most effective? Like, I like the sound of rain because I have heard the sound of rain in real life before, and it has felt relaxing to me. Or do you think it's more like at this level where they're like, oh, that sounds a bit fake, like I just don't like that. It's an aesthetic thing, a taste thing.
I wonder whether it's a combination of taste, and so this is speaking from my own experience, whether it's to do with the new age kind of thing. So it's about, if you're having a relaxing experience or you're listening to something for focus, you would rather listen to something natural than produced.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's because it is clearly doing something to your brain.
And you want the thing it does to be real or something? Like, not a fake thing?
Something, it's like a weird thing like that, yeah. It's like you don't want it to be, it's kind of like you want to smoke a spliff, not do like ketamine.
Whereas all the like people listening to the Star Trek one, they're all taking like 2CI or something, some kind of chemically produced drugs. I mean, that's not very relaxing, is it? No, I see what you mean.
But do you see what I mean? It's like there's a...
Well, I wonder as well if the distraction and nagging thoughts are the enemies of both sleep relaxation and concentration. So having to, or being distracted by the notion of the question, like, is this bit a real recording, or is this like put together in a studio? That in itself is an issue. It's not even just like, if it's fake, you don't want to listen to it. It's like, if I have to think about whether it's fake or real, that's going to be distracting, and that's going to annoy me while I try and get to sleep, or distract me while I try and do some work.
Yeah.
So these questions
Yes.
of whether you've been tricked as well, like, oh, I really trusted this video, and then now it turns out that I'm an idiot and I don't really know what it sounds like when you're in the Arctic or whatever.
Yeah, but that is the thing. I think it's about trust, because when you listen to these videos, you're putting trust in the maker of the video to not put an advert in the middle of it, to not, I don't know, put subliminal messages in it, or whatever crazy shit you don't want them to do. There is an element of trust there, I think, which I think is really interesting, actually, because it comes down to that relationship between you and the video, and that you build up over the listening time, and the comments that thank the producers for the service that they've done.
Yeah, that's true.
On some of the baby video, I'll play a baby video later, but it's like fucking crazy. The comments are just like,
the gratitude, you mean? So the next thing I have is it's from an album that I bought, and the album is called Lego White Noise.
Yeah.
Which, did you see this when it came out, or did I just text you about it?
No, you sent it to me, actually.
So let me play the intro video because it explains the whole thing.
It's a sound that's recognized by generations all over the world.
This is the making of video.
The sound Lego bricks make is also incredibly soothing. Given the year we've all had, soothing is something we need now more than ever. So using only the sounds of Lego bricks and pieces, we created a playlist of soundscapes to promote mindfulness. This is Lego White Noise. The soundscapes range from tracks mimicking the gentle rhythm of searching through piles of bricks to a lazy evening building.
This one, can you just try to use it like a shaker?
Each Lego piece has a unique sound. So we experimented with over 10,000 bricks, using different combinations of actions, surface textures, and recording techniques to create these calming and complex tracks.
Me and my assistant, we were doing a whole bunch of recording just to see what kind of sound it makes.
That's Jin, the sound
It's almost
engineer.
like we're trying to know the instrument before we actually write a song.
Some of our experiments led to some really nice surprises. Others led to a lot of cleaning up. Final tracks, however, were selected based on their ability to trigger nostalgia, good feelings, and to mimic the qualities of white noise. Lego White Noise arrives as we release more sets for adults. These tracks were designed to encourage adults to slow down and to make time for themselves, using the iconic sounds only a box of Lego bricks can make.
Okay, so it ends with an image that says Lego Adults Welcome. So I want to say a few things about the video first, because I think the video itself, it's an advert or a kind of explainer of what Lego White Noise is. Firstly, underneath the whole video, they run actual white noise. So the whole album is sounds made by Lego bricks that are kind of like white noise, and they do not include any synthesized white noise in it. But under that video, they run white noise for the entire thing. So there's a hissing white noise. Secondly, the voiceover is someone who's definitely done meditation videos or ASMR videos before, or she knows that because they've close mic'd her and she's speaking really softly like that. So it's this very specific vocal sound, which again isn't used in the actual album, but they deployed it as a kind of signal to the ASMR-like qualities. Thirdly, it's selling something. I'm sure it's like also a project that's just interested some people at Lego for a while, but they've released it to coincide with a load of sets that they're releasing for adults, based on the idea that Lego is a kind of craft that can help people relax. So that's very much using white noise as a cultural moment of things that people do to relax. I'll put on some white noise and I'll play with my Lego for a bit. Finally, they claim that the final tracks that they selected are based on the ability to evoke nostalgia. So that's quite complex, because no other noise videos, as far as I know, are interested in any kind of emotional state. They're much more interested in a somatic state of relaxation or calmness or concentration. They're not like positive or negative states. They're like a dampening down of affect. Whereas this is like, if I want to feel nostalgic, I will watch like an episode of Friends that really reminds me of like being 15 and whatever, like that's a very particular emotion that's much less about concentration and much more about, I don't know, a mixture of, nostalgia is a weird one, right? It's a mixture of positive and negative. There's quite a lot of melancholy associated with nostalgia. So I thought that was an interesting emotion to evoke.
I thought the album was interesting because for me, it didn't really get to the point where it could be functional as white noise, because the recordings were made of such discrete sounds. It was too much rubber, like rummaging in the Lego and not enough pouring. And it felt, more about ASMR for me, and it felt like much more of that kind of genre rather than, I thought it was interesting that they produced it as a white noise video and as a mindfulness kind of album, because it didn't, I couldn't see how it would have served that purpose, because it wasn't tonal enough.
It's also, they're only half-hour tracks, so there's 7 tracks here. I'll kind of click through them. Okay, so first one's called Built for Two. So this is a straight-up recording of people building stuff. I'm sure it's been edited, but it's got no effects on. As far as I can tell, it's not mixed, so there's a lot of space between the sounds. And like you say, it's much more like ASMR in the sense that it's meant to be a nice sound to hear, rather than a sound that blocks out other sound, or a sound that, I don't know, kind of overwhelms your, senses or something.
Yeah. It is very nice.
It's lovely. This is I think the best track, because actually so this one's called Wild as the Wind. This is much more like more like white noise. And they've got a lot of background noise in here as well, which is kind of quite a nice background noise. Oh, there's even recordings of cicadas and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, there is. Yeah.
I hadn't heard that before, actually. That's. Then this is called Searching for the One. So this is like rummaging through bricks. But this is weird because they put reverb on it.
Yeah.
So they basically put a bit of echo on it. Well, not quite echo, but reverb, so it sounds like it's in a big room. But that's weird because it takes away from the clicky, close-mic'd nature. So you're getting away from ASMR and you're still not quite a white noise. So it's quite a weird decision. This one's It All Clicks. And again, this is lovely, but a lot of reverb on it. And it's panned as well. It's going left and right.
Yeah.
So that'll be a stereo, like a recording that's being played in the left ear and one that's being played in the right ear. And maybe even some auto panning to kind of flick it back and forth. And then The Waterfall, which is a white noise track. That's interesting because it's the never-ending one. So they've layered up.
Exactly, yeah.
They've layered up recordings of Lego being poured out onto the floor. So that's the closest I think it gets to white noise. But it always has the quality of having the sound of Lego. It's obviously branded heavily, but also it kind of just does sound like Lego. If you know Lego and you have an experience of it.
You could imagine this being on YouTube at some stage before, like someone just making a ASMR video of this on YouTube. Was there a sort of precedent for it, or have Lego just come up with this?
Oh, I'm almost certain that Lego are hardcore when it comes to copyright enforcement.
Yeah.
And if any ASMR videos came up, and I'm sure they did, where people were clicking Lego bricks and they mentioned the word Lego, or even showed like the Lego branding in the video, they would have just got taken down.
Yeah.
And this is them kind of responding to that creatively. These days it would be hard to get away with putting the word Lego anywhere. I mean, I don't know, but that's my guess. This one's called Big Hearted Bricks. I don't really remember this one. These are like Duplo and other big bricks.
Okay.
But my favourite one is the final one, and it's called The Night Builder. So this is much more what you were talking about, this kind of spatial and temporal transportation machine. Like the feeling of being alone at night doing something creative is being evoked here.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think with this one, it feels like this is where you would experience that noise the most, or something, out of all of them. I think because they've souped up the recording to such a level that it almost doesn't sound like Lego to me. That's not how I experience the noise of Lego. Do you see what I mean? It's like super Lego. It's like the noise that I think Lego would make, or something. It's like the idea of Lego noise.
I mean, I suppose the complex thing here is that my memory of Lego is a memory of focus and flow, but before I might have had words to describe those feelings, which I now seek in things like making art or whatever. And this soundtrack is a representation of those things. And I'm sure for many people it does evoke those feelings, but it literally cannot evoke flow, because the feeling of flow is one of being absorbed in a task, and you can't be absorbed in listening to this kind of sound. Like, that's the whole point of this kind of sound, is to get you away from absorption in sound and help you be absorbed in nothing. But if you were trying to do Lego to this, then you would miss out on the real sounds of your actual absorption in the real task. So it's super interesting, because then it's got this weird relationship to authenticity and simulacrum, or whatever, kind of a faked image that replaces the real thing. And maybe that's part of the cultural conversation about white noise and ASMR, is an anxiety around attention and our loss of, or the proclaimed loss of attention, and people desperate to get it back, to the point where they're listening to things that sound like other people attending to something.
It's really interesting. Yeah,
which is really mad.
I think it is definitely about an anxiety around attention and being able to keep focused on ever increasing demands of work life, probably. And it relates to the mindfulness industry and things like the Headspace app, and which all have similar white noise functions. I mean, I don't think Headspace uses white noise specifically, but it definitely does have sort of soundscapes to help you fall asleep.
Yes, it does.
And things like that. So it's a function. And to stretch that further, there's a company, Sodexo, which is a big outsourcing company, a bit like it's like Serco or something. I think it's bigger in Europe and the States, but they've got a mindfulness app with their own white noise that they've produced for employees.
No way.
Yeah.
Can you get it if you're not an employee?
I think you can. I think it's just on the App Store, but they don't particularly advertise it.
And it's to help their employees in crowded offices, or what? What's the...
I think they use white noise in a mix of things. So they've used it as a what's called a sound blocker. So it's they used it in probation offices and effectively what you do is you bounce off. It's not actually white noise. It's a low frequency noise, but you bounce off the ceiling and it bounces down and provides like a border where the noise can't leak. So it's sort of, you say cynically you would save money by not having to build proper offices. You just build one big shed.
Oh, I see.
And then you have
it stops people being able to hear your
blockers.
conversation, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so interesting, isn't it? Because the whole issue with sound is that it doesn't really obey man-made borders, or it's very hard to control. It's quite a leaky object, and what they're trying to do is use other sound to kind of make it a less leaky object and restrict it to the terms of capitalism that they want to, operate within. Nice. All right, let's do your next one.
This is one that I've not listened to particularly, but it's got quite a good, seeing how we're talking capitalism.
Always. Never stop. Even on a Sunday morning.
This one's got a good story associated to it. Okay, so this is called 10 Hours of a Perfect Fifth. And the video for it's amazing. It's just of a white screen with the two frequencies kind of written out. So frequency 1 is 26.1 followed by a long number of hertz. Frequency 2 is 392 point and then an equally long number of hertz. This is, for me, a kind of connoisseur's video. It's produced by a guy called Sebastian Tomzak, who's a musician and does all kinds of stuff with electronics and producing electronic sounds. And like I say, it's not one that I've listened to, but it is interesting because Sebastian made another video of a 10 hours long video of continuous white noise, which had 5 copyright infringement claims made against him. So I'll read out the story. So it's based in Australia. The claimants accusing him of infringement included publishers of white noise intended for sleep therapy. I will be disputing these claims. So what's interesting about it is that Google automatically makes claims on behalf of its content's creators if its algorithms find a close match between the content of the two videos. So in this case, the claims against Mr. Tomzak do not demand the video's removal, but instead the reward of any revenue made from advertising associated with it. So essentially, YouTube's algorithms have kind of detected his white noise sound and then put copyright infringements on them. But it's interesting that they've only done that for commercially videos that are so related to commercial projects. I guess. So you've got two types of video. You've got the ones that I think the ones more or less the ones that we've been playing. So that just feel like people in their bedrooms producing these sounds and then putting them out there, and then I guess making a bit of money from the video at the beginning of the advert at the beginning of the end, and then you've got a kind of another strand of kind of very commercial mindfulness and health videos, which I have to say I've not come across at all.
No,
I've not looked for them, but I've never really seen them, but they clearly exist.
What's complex is that Google's algorithm, so in my other little small bit of my life as a musician, this does happen quite a lot. If your music is published and accessible, then Google will access it and, you know, they'll ID it basically. And if your music is ever used on other people's videos, they'll notify you and they'll say what you want to do about it. And you can either get the video taken down, or you can stop it being monetized, or if it is monetized, then, you know, you get the money or whatever. So I suppose that all it means is that that company has released its white noise as a track and it exists on iTunes and stuff, and therefore Google's kind of ID'd it. And then when they've been told, oh, someone's infringed your copyright, instead of being like, they probably haven't because this is white noise, and therefore they probably produce their own white noise using their own white noise generator, they've said, yeah, we'll have a bit of that.
Yeah.
So that, or they just haven't noticed it because maybe it's a massive company and no one is tracking this kind of stuff, and they've just allowed the copyright claim to be upheld or something like that.
I think probably the latter. They're all. So just looking at the claimants, they're all kind of white noise sleep therapy, Mule Records, another one for white noise sleep therapy.
But of course, they can't all be the owners of the copyright, because the nature of copyright is that one person owns it. So by the nature of it being multiple copyright claims about the same content, it literally cannot be one of those people's bit of recorded music.
Yeah.
And what's happened is noise has, obviously because the whole point of noise is to not be music, it's like overwhelmed Google's algorithmic ability to identify different pieces of recorded sound. So that's interesting in itself, right? You wouldn't get that with an Adele track that someone's uploaded on their video, because it would only be XL recordings that would have that bit of music attributed to them. Yeah.
And I guess YouTube is, I think why it's interesting, because it sort of says quite a lot of things about the white noise videos, because YouTube's all about distinctiveness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And kind of, it's all about difference. Whereas I think the white noise videos are kind of like the anti that.
This guy's musical video, that's really interesting to me, because A Perfect Fifth is conceptually the opposite of white noise in Western culture. Because A Perfect Fifth is like, basically in Western modern, or kind of whatever, I guess early modern and onwards music, even before then, I'm getting the times wrong, but like for a long time in Western harmony, The Perfect Fifth is like the most pure harmonic. And if you start getting too far away from that sound, then you get into like areas that music wasn't really allowed to go, like religiously and emotionally. So the classic example of this is there's the devil's intonation, what was it called? The devil's intonation, maybe something like that, which is the flattened fifth. So it's just one semitone down. So that bottom note would stay the same, and then the top note would come one semitone down, and that would sound the most, to us, to our kind of westernized ears, the most dissonant. And it's the devil's sound, because it would never ever have been used in any music. It would have been felt improper to even play it or put it in music. It was only really in, you know, whatever, once you get to 20th century, that you start getting that interval used a lot. The devil's interval, that's the phrase. So it's weird because it's the most musical, and yet obviously once you play it for more than 30 seconds, it loses any notion of being about music, because it's not going to progress into another chord.
Yeah, yeah.
So it does
It's
the
super
same job.
Yeah.
We're talking about ASMR, and this is a sample from an ASMR video of hand rubbing. ASMR hand rubbing, warming sounds, no talking. So it's very hard to find ASMR that hasn't got talking in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because mostly people want basically a sexy young lady's close mic'd voice in their ears, which is understandable. But one thing people like is the sound of hands as well. So there is a smaller subcategory of hand ASMR, but often it will be hands and talking. And this is one that I found is no talking. But I was using this for a background sound for a video, so I slowed it down. So it's actually running at a kind of about a fifth below what it should be in terms of harmony. So it's slowed down and it's much lower pitched. And then I've run it through a tiny bit of, I've put it through a low pass filter. So that's what it sounds like normally. And that's what it sounds like now. And then have I given it, no, I haven't given it any reverb. But then I also found this. So that's someone cracking their joints. And I've lowered the top end off that a bit, and I've also pitched that down so it's minus 15 semitones. So that's quite, it's almost 3 times, well, twice down what it would be. And I have put that through some reverb as well. But then with these ones, where there's a clear rhythm, with these kind of recordings, I can run it through, I can turn it into MIDI, so I can turn it into a score for music. And if I then randomize it and run it through a kind of MIDI effect to put it into a scale, I can then make almost like ambient music out of it. So this is a piano sample being scored by that joint cracking sound at normal speed. Hang on a minute. So what you've got there is not noise at all, but it's rhythmically noisy in the sense that it's arrhythmic, there's no beat, and it's not really to a tempo. And then what I've done is replicate that over a number of instruments, but loop them at different points. So what you get is a phasing where the loops never match up. And they're on different instruments which have different lengths. So this is an organ. And this is what's the word? Marimba. So what you're getting really is a layering up of the same thing over and over again, but that's looping differently and running through different sounds. And then finally, this is my favourite bit. This is some trumpets, and for whatever reason, this is much more emotive, I think.
It's really good.
It's nice,
beautiful.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But it's quite a different thing, but it's just interesting to think how far we can stretch these definitions of noise and what we can use noise to generate, and what, like the tone of noise, or what people would consider noise. Because this is harmonic completely, a bit like what you just played, but it's not musical in the sense that it's not rhythmic, and it's not. No, it is musical. Sorry, that's way overstatement. But it's not rhythmic, and it's not progressing anywhere. It's just looping round, phasing in and out, and kind of interacting. The different elements are interacting in ways that are almost like music, but not. So a bit like this idea of replicating the notion, or representing the notion of being in flow or concentrating. This is music that's about music. It's like a representation of what music sometimes sounds like, but is not itself music. Nice to speak to you, man. This was a lovely thing to do.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.